Yeah, we are online, I guess.
I think we are live. I will soon tell you when YouTube decides to update at its
Yeah,
end,
okay.
but hopefully we are good. Yes, we are live. Hello, everybody. Hello.
Major,
I just need
major
to mute.
exercise.
I just need to mute the YouTube stream because it's deciding to play in my ear.
Okay,
There we go.
okay,
Done.
okay.
Excellent. Well, hello, everybody. Sorry about that. Let's just say there was a few technical gremlins that were threatening to derail this entire process, but I think with about 40 seconds to spare, Andy's computer decided to come alive
And
again.
by the
So
way, I actually
thank
activated
goodness.
my old computer. I cannot guarantee that everything works fine today, but I had to take out the battery because the battery was dead. Because it was an old computer. The new computer just didn't want to start OBS and didn't want to see any camera and all that just before going live.
There we go. Anyway, we're now alive, I think. I'm just going to quickly sort out the
Yeah.
chat so we can see participants. That shows the participants. I don't want that. I want the chat. I want to hear what all of you have got to say. So, of course, if you have any questions as we carry on this little presentation, please do put them into the chat and we will endeavour. If I can ask Leon, who I know is watching, can you stick something in the chat to make sure the chat is working? If you could do that, that would be greatly appreciated. And then ask away any questions and we will try and answer them as we go. If you see me looking side to side, too many screens going on in my life at the moment. But Andy is the man with the plan. He has the presentation. So maybe you could move to the first slide, Andy, if you don't mind.
Yes, of course. I have just added a noise suppression tool because I didn't do that last time. Is this sound okay? Can people say something or check if that's okay? Someone who is probably out there.
I know Leon's there, so hopefully Leon. So what's Marcus? We've got Marcus giving us something. I am not very loud, apparently. Let's see if I can make
I
that
can
better.
make you a little bit more loud.
Maybe
because
you
yeah,
do
I do
that.
that.
Andy's got all the controls at his
Yeah.
end. There we go.
Okay.
I hopefully should be a little bit louder now.
Good.
So please do let us know. Marcus is messaging saying I'm not very loud. Leon, chat is good. Awesome. Leon's good. Sound is good now. Good. Let's carry on. That's called Saved by the Bell.
Yeah.
So what are we here to talk about? We are here to talk about our new launch, which launched a mere 2 days ago, back on Tuesday at 1400 CET. And what we are launching is the all-new Omnium K2 2024 edition in the new 37mm size. And this carries on quite a lot of firsts for us, especially with the Omnium. It's a model that has lots of firsts, but we'll get into that later.
And by the way, it's beautiful.
This is something.
It's
very beautiful. You'll get to see later. See, sneaky peek. You get to see later.
Okay.
But I'm not going to show too much. I'm not going to show too much of that just now. But yes, let's get into the nitty gritty of this. This is a watch that has essentially been 18 years in the making to get to this point of perfection. So you can see from that first picture there are 3 dial colors, and as you will find out as we go on, there are indeed also 3 materials that are available for the case also. So if maybe, Andy, you could flick on to the next slide, that would be appreciated. Yep. And we've got that coming. So there we go. So let's give you a little bit of history of Omnium, a model that, as I mentioned, has been with us as a brand since quite literally day one. In fact, not even day one, minus day one, because it was there before HORAGE almost really existed properly as a brand. So we take ourselves all the way back to around 2006, 2007. And the very first, I guess, concept, we'll call it a concept, because that very first model wasn't ever one that actually made it into a retail market. But we did have that first concept, and it was in those days utilising what was going to be a Vaucher manufacture movement, only in precious metal as well. And due to politics and changing circumstances, unfortunately, the ability for us to use that Vaucher manufacture movement kind of fell through.
So we still have that watch, yeah? I don't have it here
well,
because of that hiccup we just had. But there was actually a Parmigiani Fleury logo engraved in that first sample which we have in our safe. So that's the one thing. And at this time, I think it was a Frederick Pege movement, which at this time Boshi even didn't make. They also bought that. So there's a real backstory to that. And
Absolutely.
yeah, it's
But it did have all the things that you would expect to see even on the Omnium now. You had the faceted crystal, the case design proportionally, and as the general aesthetic has survived all the way through from the very earliest concept model, the one we're just talking about, right through to what we are launching this week. So that was the start of things. But then the first, I guess, production model, the one that people could buy, it came around in around 2000, and I put there 2000, have I put 29? Or is that 2009? I can't actually see the screen, but we're looking at around...
Yeah, you put 29.
We're in the future, everybody. So actually, let's rewind. It's 2009 is when that was. Now, that is a wee typo on my mistake. But anyway, that one there utilized an ETA movement with a SOPROD module on top of it. And that was to give us the date functionality. So that was an ETA 2892. It was only available in precious metal as well, and that one was the first model that went to market, something that people could buy. Long gone, none of them exist. I'm not even sure whether we've even got any in the archives. I'd need to dig into that. Andy, you'll know that. Do we still have any of these in the archives, or are they all long gone?
I personally own one, by the way. So I have a black one.
So technically, yes, they're in the archives, because Andy is the archives of this company at the end of the day.
And it's white gold.
In fact, Andy, we should mention it's a happy birthday month to Andy, because Andy finally caught up with me and he's joined the very old people club in the category of over the age of 50 years old. So he is also in the archives personally himself, being an old guy now. But like myself, we still have managed to retain some upper hair protection and insulation.
You can see it's much less with me, though.
Well, you still have more than most at our age, so we're very lucky we have some insulation.
Do you lose more hair when you do bicycles or watches?
Yes, luckily I've done both and still have my hair, so I am the exception to the rule, I have to say. But moving on, so you'll see a few things here. Only precious metal, and up to this point we were using movements from other people. But that's when, I guess, the brand, as a brand of HORAGE, went for a little hibernation period. It went for a little rest and sleep until we decided what we actually wanted to be. And of course that was in and around 2017 where Omnium came alive again. The brand came alive around the 2015 area. That is with the K1, our first in-house automatic movement, which was modular in design. We've talked about that lots in the past. Of course, we're always here to answer questions. But we had the generation 1 of it that was brought to market. We think it was around 2017. We were rushing to try and find dates. And there's obviously also been a generation 2 variant of it. That was around the 2019-2020 period. That was a special watch. There was only 25 of each of 3 colours, so 75 in total. If I remember rightly, there was a Swiss Pearl, which was a kind of pearlescent silver. There was a root beer, which was a really nice deep brown colourway, and there was a blue dial in there as well. A little bit brighter as a blue, but again, everything you would expect. Faceted crystal, the same proportional case shape and design language was used there as well. These were in 40mm cases though. You had, though, our first K1 in-house movement. We also did a smaller version, 32 or 35, 32mm, I think it was, Andy, for the ladies, or the smaller variant. Is that correct?
Yes, 32. That was the smallest watch we made.
That was also incorporating our K2 movement in there as well, so that we just managed to get into that watch. So yes, that was the 2 variants that were on the market up until this week, but many years of effort and work since then has gone into what is the latest version, the 2024 release of the Omnium K2 37mm. I'm going to guess you're going to know what the movement is. Obviously, it is the K2 movement. The K2 is in the title of it, and that is our micro rotor movement that first debuted on the Superseed range back in around 2019-2020 when we first started mounting or muting the idea of this. And then, of course, in and around, I think, Andy, 22 to 23, we started to deliver the Superseed models onto the market. But it's been long waited for. The 2.9mm variant of the K2 movement.
That's the thinnest version.
Up till now, all of our K2s that we've made, manufactured, built, put into watches have all been the fully featured 3.6mm version. Now, by fully featured, don't think that the 2.9mm version is defeatured. It's defeatured in as much as it can't have some complications. Luckily, this Omnium watch doesn't need those complications, but silicon still there. Tick that box. Power reserve, 72 hours, still there. The efficiency of the escapement, still there. All the aesthetics that you're expecting, still there. So everything that's needed for this Omnium is still there, but in that 2.9mm variant. And that 2.9mm variant was designed from day one, along also, I have to say, with a one in the middle, a piggy in the middle, a 3.3mm variant. Up till now, though, we had never made the 2.9 or the 3.3. We still have not made the 3.3, but this is the debut for that thin 2.9. And why, may you ask? Because with that 37mm case, we wanted to get that height or side profile of the watch down as small as we could, so that we still held that proportionality of the case design. 7.79mm. I think it's fair to say, Andy, to correct me if I'm wrong, this is the slimmest HORAGE model to date that we've had on the marketplace.
Yes, correct. And effectively,
we thought we were doing
like the first one, yeah.
Yeah. And I think we thought we were doing pretty well with the Autark, which, of course, we will talk about a little bit later on, but we've started delivering those at 8.8mm. It's a pretty skinny Malinky as well, with a 39.5mm case. We thought we were doing pretty well with that, but getting this one down under 8mm has been a real kind of labour of love. As you'll read about if you check out our forum, the original prototypes for this release were actually 38mm, but Sue was not happy with it, so we managed to eventually settle on this magic set of numbers, 37 by 7.95. And I have to say, you have to get this one in hand to really appreciate what's going on with the sizes, because pictures never really do it the justice that you need it to. But we are going to be out and about. There's a lucky small handful of people over the last maybe 3-4 weeks who've actually managed to get hands-on in this, because we were out and about. We were in Asia, we were over in Hong Kong, we were also in Taipei, Taiwan, and we were in Singapore. And a few of those people, they were sworn to secrecy, they were sworn to not expose the pictures they were allowed to take, but none of them actually did. So we have got some members and fans out there that didn't break that little personal
some
embargo.
intense
So
traveling.
thank you.
I mean, we did some intense traveling.
Yes, we definitely did.
And it was a lot of fun.
Traveling. It was great fun, but we got to see a huge number of people. And just prior to that, we had been in Germany, we had been in London, and we had also been in the US. We'd been in New York, we had been in Philadelphia, and we had been in Washington, DC. So we've got about, and I think after a conversation we had earlier, 2025 is going to be a year of even more travel. So between myself, Andy, Sue, and others in the team like Richard and Lenny, I think we're going to be tired people by the end of 2025, but it does mean that we will get out and about and see many more of you and let you see our watches. So that obviously brings us to the last bit of that slide, the 2024 release of this all new model. First ever offering with a 2.9mm movement, as we mentioned. We talked about the case size, and in another huge first, because this is a model of firsts.
Shall I switch the slide, actually?
Well, you can go to the next one, yep, for sure. The first ever model that we've announced or revealed with a platinum case. So here's a few pictures of the history. That is the very first sketch that Sue managed to find in her archives. The very first sketch where I think she thought, these people are taking me for a ride. It's really simple, but this is what it ended up being. And the two photographs there, they are actually photographs of that very original concept watch using the Vaucher Manufacture movement in there. And there's a few sketches of the design for the rotor, which you can actually see in that case back shot. If you want to see these pictures in a bit more depth, again, check out the forum, because we've got an article kind of covering those early years and ideas of Omnium, and you can see these pictures in a little bit bigger, and you can home in and spend some time looking at them. So if you can flip on again there, Andy, for us.
Yeah.
Here we go. Next slide's coming up, I think. There we go. So with the new model, before we go there, in fact, Andy, maybe make me full screen if you don't mind.
Yeah. Wait,
Andy's going to make me full screen.
Figure out now a little bit, because
which is a special button, because this has definitely been saved by the bell with Andy getting this software to work again. Well, that's you, Andy.
Yeah, that's
me. You need to find me, and you need to find me. So let's see if we can do it. I have.
Yeah, we get that done. You are.
So I'll just keep talking whilst Andy is working out the technology, but I have samples of the watches to let people see them. So apologies for the slight lack of smooth running of this live cast, but we're actually lucky we even have a live cast. Andy's managed to miss himself there as well. But maybe if you go back to the full shot, they can see it in the corner at least. There we go, right in the corner. You can see my hand.
That's the wrong one. I need to do it like that. I need to fake that.
Can you just drag you bigger? You can. There we go. Fake it till we make it. There we go. So everybody can now see. So we have, as you can see by my hands entering the frame, the real watches here. So what do we have? We have 3 dial colors. We have midnight blue. This is this one here. We have Frostfire, which is the opaline silver verging on white. It's definitely not white, but it's got a silver tint to it with the bright red numerals. And we have the pink perfection, which is this fume pink with a slightly granny effect and the color matched numerals. So let me zoom in a little bit if I can. Let's see if camera plays. So this is the pink one. You can see the effect there on the fume dial. I will try and center myself. And you can see the color matched numerals. The numerals are monoblock lume. They do glow in the dark. There's a nice green glow to these numerals. And you have the superluminova also in the hands as well, which you can see there. If I move this slightly, hopefully you can see the facets in the crystal. If I just catch the
zooming,
there we go. You can see it there.
And
of course you can see the super slim profile and exposing the K2.
That's so nice, because this whole movement is completely filling the back.
Absolutely, we completely fill up the watch.
Just a small frame around that.
Yeah, and this is a 30mm movement in a 37mm case. So as you can see, as Andy correctly mentions, it fully fills up the case back of this watch. Fully fills up. There's a tongue twister for you. The other little features to note on this is obviously you've got that lug design there, which the faceted crystal, which if I just catch it correctly in the light, you can maybe see it there as well. It just kind of waterfalls into the lug design. Pardon my fingerprints on the case. And you also see the pin buckle. I will move these out the road because it will probably let it focus better. Here we go, the pin buckle. And again, what you can see here is on the H, this is actually an applique as well. This is not just a simple engraving or embossing. It is actually a applique that's applied into the pin buckle. The shape of the pin buckle also mirroring the shape of the lugs on there as well. So that's the pink. We will then bring up the silver. Let me just get this. There we do. We have the frost fire here. So you have this slightly opaline silver dial, definitely with white tints, and you also have the bright red numerals. Again, these are superluminova, and they do glow green in the evenings or in the dark nights, which is definitely dark here in Scotland at this time of the night in the winter. And you of course have the superluminova on the main hands. All other features still stand. You can maybe see the faceting slightly better on this color. Just if I move it there, you can see it just under the number 1 and the number 11, and also just above the 7 and the 5 there as well. Again, of course, the movement on full display. And then the final colorway, which is the midnight blue. This almost looks black in certain lights, but it's definitely a very deep blue that you can maybe just capture there. Again, obviously the faceted crystal, which you can see, oh, there we go. I've captured it perfectly there, just under the 11 and the 1. This one also has the gold plated hands, whereas the other two colorways have rhodium plated hands. And you have, again, obviously the movement. Obviously, the case on this one is different. You can also get it in the 904L stainless steel, but this one here is the 18 karat 3N light rosa yellow gold case, which is the gold option. Now, this gold option is available in both the midnight blue and is also available in the frost fire. Both these dial colors are available in yellow gold. We are not offering this yellow gold in the pink dial, simply because it doesn't look great. It's the wrong color palette combination. So the yellow gold only available in this midnight blue or the frost fire dial. And the other option is, if I bring this back, is a platinum case. So this is a PT 950 platinum case. The platinum case is available in all the variants, so you can have this in the pink dial, the midnight blue dial, and also in the frost fire dial. Now, that does maybe bring us on to the slide that we were on, Andy. So if you could maybe go back to that next slide.
They make you small again.
I go back to my box in the corner.
Yeah.
There we go. So yes, the golden ticket. So what is the golden ticket all about? Well, this is something that we have been talking about since the days of the Tourbillon 1, back in those early days, just before and obviously during that period where unfortunately everyone around the world had to stay in their houses because of COVID. But this is where we brought, I guess, the tale of gold, the value of gold, and how we are trying to bring gold and, of course, precious metals to the market in a much more open and transparent way. That being that the price of gold, we're very open. We talk about what the market price of gold is. We talk about the weights of our cases, and we then translate that into a price point, that being to show fairness with the use of precious metals. Unfortunately,
And
gold
not
is very
exactly cheap
expensive.
at the moment.
No, gold, I think, if I remember rightly, is in and around that $85 per gram at the moment, which is a truly horrific price. But that is where it is. It's been up from around the $60 mark for quite a while. It's been slowly but surely climbing for the last 6 months, give or take. But we're very open and transparent about what the price is, what it costs us to buy that material, how much we need to use for the cases, even including things such as manufacturing wastage, and then that gets us down to what the actual cost is. We still believe that we offer some of the best value precious metal cases and watches on the market anywhere in the world. And in this watch, let's talk about the price. It's going to be 4,590 Swiss francs in the stainless steel case. That is, of course, including taxes, duties and deliveries, as long as it's under 28%, which does cover the vast majority of the world. And that is the steel price. If you wish to upgrade to the 18 karat yellow gold, that 3N light rosa yellow gold, the price point is going to be 10,990 Swiss francs for 5 days. That runs from Tuesday past through to Monday next week. Then it will revert to its full price, that being 1,000 Swiss francs more, 11,990 Swiss francs. In platinum, usually you would expect to pay pretty much double what you pay for gold. We are not there though. Platinum is slightly cheaper to buy as a material, but you need more of it because it's denser and it's therefore heavier, and it's horrible to work. Andy, you're a machine guy. You know the machine guys. They're not happy working in platinum, are they? It's a tough material to work with.
Especially polishing. You know, this kind of, you need to laminate this stuff. And we have been before in a company where they did actually do the platinum raw materials, and you need to laminate that correctly. And you cannot just, you know, do the molten type of thing. And then when you do machine that thing, it's kind of dewy, and especially when you do the polishing afterwards, that's tricky stuff, and that makes things expensive and difficult to make.
Absolutely. And I think it's always been referred as a little bit like jelly-like, as in it
Yeah.
mars up and gels up tools. But yeah, so it's difficult to work with. So you've got this strange position where it is more expensive than gold, but that's because although the material itself is a little less expensive to purchase as a raw material, you need more of it because it weighs more. It's higher
Mm.
density material. And also the working cost of it is somewhere in the region of 3 to 5 times that of yellow gold to actually work. So unfortunately, that does mean it ends up being a little more expensive. In our case, it's going to be 13,490 Swiss francs, again, inclusive
Mm.
of taxes, duties, and delivery, up to 28% for the first 5 days, from Tuesday past through to Monday, and then it will move to its full price, which is 14,990 Swiss francs, again, fully inclusive of taxes, deliveries, and shipping. Now,
We have some
we think they
questions
are
here.
exceptional value. Let's hit the questions. What have you got? You can be the question
Show,
master.
because I have my phone open, because my CPU is too weak on an old computer.
Okay, so I'm reading here. So what we
Jean-François is
get here
here.
is, he is indeed. Hello, Jean-Francois.
What's your
I know you've been
favorite?
asking
Yeah.
some questions. What is his favorite indeed? So, well, he also says that I'm quite quiet. That's actually very rare for me. I'm usually accused of being much too loud, to be honest with you. But who else do we have here? It says, I make watches. Can we see the new movement in detail? I will get some more detailed shots in a little bit. Is it automatic? Yes, indeed. It's an
Yes.
automatic micro rotor, one of the, if not the most efficient winding micro rotor movement on the market. I'm going to cough, pardon me. 72 hours of power reserve and a super efficient rewind and winding system in there as well. What else do we have? He loves his micro rotors. He loves the pink dial. Pink dial's my favorite as well, I have to say. Case
Are you
back is
pink?
sapphire. I love the pink one, I have to say. I'm definitely pink makes the boys wink, so I definitely like that watch very much so. What else do we have here? We have Jean-Francois saying, congratulations on the whole collection. It's beautiful. As David said, you're supposed to love your kids equally, but what would be your favourite? For me, it's definitely pink. The blue is
Pink
super
with
classy on the
platinum,
gold
or
case.
pink with
I mean, of
platinum?
course. Of course.
Yeah. I think
Yes,
that
of
this
course.
is the watch you need to own in precious metal, because it is also designed in a way that it can be still afforded. You know, I mean, when you have
Yes.
a good proper design, we are filling the watch with the full movement, so that looks perfectly well from the backside. We do not need to waste space for filling up with precious metal some part of the case. So the case design is very important, that we also do not have to use too much gold or precious metal,
Yeah.
because otherwise it's just getting out of control.
And that does bring a question in from Jean-Francois, who's saying that the delivery of the steel ones, he's correct, is going to be within mere 2 weeks. Around the middle
Yeah.
of December, they will be available. The gold and the platinum are delivery more around the June time next year. So in and
Yeah.
around a 6 to 7 month lead. Open and honestly, why?
Which probably
Well,
is a good
gold,
idea to buy too.
yes, gold is ludicrously expensive at the moment. And,
Yeah.
it's one of those materials that we, unfortunately, being, a small company who's dynamic, who also wants to bring the best kind of efficiencies in terms of cost to people buying watches, we unfortunately can't sit on large stockpiles of gold like they maybe do in those big safes in the banks around the world. If we did, we wish we could, but well, no, we just can't. So therefore, what we do is we effectively make the gold and platinum cases to order. They're not limited edition, but they are limited production. So we do like to do something a little bit special, but we can't afford to just speculate and make 200 cases and hope that we sell 200, because that is a huge amount of money, not just for the materials themselves, but also for the actual production of those cases. And of course, a huge amount of time and effort goes into those. So that's really what it's about. We do try our best. We try to shorten the lead times as much as we can. And if we can, of course, make that a little bit earlier, we will do that. We are, I think, well known for delivering in time, if not early, and we work very quickly. We'll get to that actually slightly later on, but maybe you could flip to the next slide. Oh no, sorry, before you flip on to the next slide, Andy. Golden ticket. What is it also? It's a bit of a
Back to
competition.
golden ticket.
Or activation, back to golden ticket. So with golden
Back to
ticket,
golden ticket.
anybody who purchases a gold or, in this case now, platinum watch from us through the period of 2024, so anyone who's bought a precious metal cased Tourbillon 2 this year, and we're also including anyone that bought the precious metal cased Tourbillon 1s, all of their names will be put in a hat sometime in December. We'll do another live and they get their chance. Part of the deal of buying one of our gold watches was you got a golden ticket. That gets you into a draw, and that draw will be to win a VIP luxury trip to Beale. We'll bring you over to the manufacturer, show you around, let you see behind the scenes, talk to the watchmakers, and we'll go on a bit of a watch journey around Beale and in and around the area to show you what the Swiss watch industry has to offer. And of course, it wouldn't be HORAGE if we didn't also do some very good food, whether that's good food that has been prepared at the hands of Sue and Celine, or whether that's out in a restaurant. Well, you have to win it to find out what that's going to be. But yes, if you want to enter, if you're lucky enough to be in a position to maybe purchase one of our precious metal watches, you have a mere few days left. So you have to run until the start of December to enter for the 2024 draw, which will take place in December. And the prize will be given out in 25. If you buy in December or later, you will be taking part in the 2025 draw that will take place at the back end of 2025. So if you want to maybe try and get involved, maybe try and get in your hat or your name in the hat to get drawn for next year's little trip, you've got a few days left to make that decision. So maybe we can flip on to the next one, Andy.
Where do we need to go now? That's just going
next
on.
Slide, please.
Okay, next slide. Yeah, there's another thing to win.
So
there's
another competition. So we understand that, not everyone out there can afford to necessarily purchase a gold or a platinum watch. We all wish we could, but we all live in the real world, and therefore we're also going to be having a bit of a competition, which follows in a narrative that we've done many times, but it's open to everybody. Everyone can take part. So 3 of the prototypes, that being all in stainless steel case, 1 pink, 1 blue, and 1 of the frost fire dials. Those 3, 1 each dial colour, all in stainless steel, are going to be up for a competition that you can enter to win. You'll get 3 chances to win as well. Now, how this will work is we're going to be showing pictures. Leon's dealing with it. He's going to be arranging these to be coming up on social media in probably round about a week's time. You'll see some pictures appear. There will be 1 for each dial colour, and there are buildings hidden in these abstract pictures. It's a very easy competition. You have to name the buildings in the pictures. There might be 3, there might be slightly more. We'll tell you how many buildings you're looking for. We might even give you a couple of very light clues. And then you have to enter. A correct entry will be someone who names the correct number and the number and names of the buildings. So we will say, for example, there are 4 buildings hidden. You must name the 4 buildings. If you enter and you're correct, your name will be entered into the raffle. And those names will be pulled out of a hat again later in December.
But it's not a multiple choice thing, huh? It's not a multiple choice thing.
We haven't fully decided yet. It might be a multiple choice. We might tell you there's 4 buildings and give you 5 or 6 options, or we might just say name the buildings. But we're working on the nuances of that, but it's going to be a name the buildings competition. And these are buildings that are they're in the modernist design, something that Sue loves a lot and something that this Omnium watch really does hark back to. A lot of the design cues are from that modernist architectural type of movement, and she loves it, and you'll see what we mean. But take part. There's only going to be some basic rules. You can take part in all 3. So for the blue, the pink, and the frost fire dial, you can enter. But if your name is drawn out of the hat, that's you. You cannot win more than 1 of the watches. You cannot then go on to win a different colour. Fair's fair. We have to spread the love around as much as we can. So that's going to be taking place. Probably keep your eye on our Instagram account. And our Instagram account is @HORAGE Swiss. get following if you haven't followed, because if you're not following our Instagram channel, then you're not able to take part. So you have to be following us to take part. If you want family members, friends, maybe ask all of them to give us a follow, and of course they can take part on that little competition as well, and you get to win a very nice watch. Of course, it's one of the prototypes, and the prototypes have special case back numbers that signify that they are indeed prototypes. So Andy's got the rules, I think, up there. They're not the full rules. They will be published in due course so that you know all of the little bits, all of the little T's and C's, all of the fine print nearer the time of the competition.
I have.
So
before we get out
Andy's
of
got
that,
the camera. So let's bring up the movement case.
Just to have a look again before we go to the next stuff. Isn't that nice? It's nice, huh?
There we go. So we have a full zoom in there on the case back. Someone did request that earlier as well. So you can see there the full detail. I think there was a request made. Someone asked if they could upgrade to a platinum rotor. Now, this is not something that we are offering as a standard option, but of course, as a company that like to bend over backwards to help where we can, if someone would love to have a platinum rotor, maybe especially if they're going to go for the platinum case, then yes, drop us a message, drop us an email, and we can make that happen for you. Sadly, it also involves a little bit of an upcharge. It will be in and around 1,200 Swiss francs upgrade in order to get that platinum rotor in there as well. But of course, if you want to stick with the gold-plated rhodium, which personally I think looks great because it pulls out the little gold highlights in the movement, then of course you're very welcome to stick with that. Which reminds me, we also have a solid yellow or solid white gold pin buckle available in order to keep the price in check a little bit and make it as affordable as we can. The pin buckle on the stainless steel case and on the platinum case will be our polished stainless steel pin buckle, and on the yellow gold it will be a yellow gold plated stainless steel buckle. That will be the standard issues in terms of the pin buckles. You can upgrade to a solid rosa yellow gold pin buckle or an 18 karat white gold pin buckle if you wish. Because of the amount of gold and because of the cost and because of the complexity of making that little proper applique style pin buckle, it is around 1,800 Swiss francs. Yes, it's a huge amount of money for a pin buckle, but there's a lot of work and a lot of gold in them. And unfortunately, gold is at this point in time ludicrously expensive. So we wanted to make it an option. If you wish it, you're of course welcome to add that to the order, but you don't have to if you do not want to. So, Andy's zooming in, you can see the appliques there. Yeah, so I think as you zoom in,
you can see
the
really appliques and the dirt.
Yes, absolutely. So this is one of the sample ones. We should also talk about the strap. The strap has got a alligator style embossing on it, and it's in a very deep, dark navy blue. Yeah. But the strap itself is actually rubber. You honestly wouldn't know it was rubber. Even when you handle it, you probably wouldn't know it's rubber either. But that does also mean that the strap is water resistant, which means that it works well with the watch being 100 meters water resistant. So this is a dress watch, a slim, elegant, refined dress watch that you don't need to panic too much if you decide to go for a swim in the pool.
That is not allowed. That is not series dial. It's just a sample dial.
Yeah. So there we go.
Out.
So there's the strap. So yes, these straps, we will be supplying all three dial colors on the navy strap as standard in stock, but we are also going to be producing the strap, which is a 20mm lug down to an 18mm pin buckle. It will also be produced in a grey colorway as well. That's something that will be available as an add-on extra, or of course, my speaking today, I am tired, it's been a long day, but yes, the grey strap will be available also. If you wish to buy either separately or with a pin buckle, you can also go for the grey strap there as well. So,
I can't believe that it's so nice.
Have we any more questions on the Omnium? Because after that, we need to move on with a couple of updates on a few other areas of our project that we've been talking about.
Our boss is angry with me because I didn't clean the watch properly. Yeah.
Well,
It's
this is
right.
the problem, though, with high-powered microscopic cameras. It gives everything away. And unfortunately, I think most people watching this will accept that, we're not in a clean room environment here. We are
Yeah.
in a broadcast studio. So
And
unfortunately,
I was a
dust
little
gets
bit
about.
overwhelmed with my whole problem.
Well, we very nearly didn't have a live, indeed.
Yeah.
So Andy, if maybe you could move for me on
Yeah.
to the next slide, please, that would be great.
Yeah, I'm shifting screen face. So let's go here.
So that's the competition, and it should be the next one.
Quest
There we
to
go.
Zero.
So Quest to Zero update. So next slide, please, Andy.
Yeah.
So we've got a little bit of an update on MicroReg. As you know, this is a project, a technology-based project that we launched a mere few months ago. And this was something that we, whilst having some working engineering grade prototypes of the technology, we didn't have a prototype of the watch at that point in time. And we are so far now skirting in and around the 150 people that have committed and pre-ordered this watch. So thank you all very much to everyone that has taken that leap of faith with us and put their trust in us to pre-order one of these watches. It really is very much appreciated. We have worked hard over the years to build that trust and confidence with all of you out there, and it's lovely for you to see us being supported in that way. But in this, what we've got here is we work quickly, and as you can see, we have now produced a engineering prototype. And Andy, if you could maybe do your dirty little trick of making me full screen again.
I try another trick today now.
You go full on me, so we do this. So here we have a working engineering prototype of the watch itself. Now, what you can see here is, please believe me, a very early prototype. The case is not finished. It's got some more refinements and work to be done, but it's for a functional fit and check test. We have the movement, which, as you can see here, has this peacock colorway on it. If I just get that near the camera, hopefully we can catch the green and blue hues to it there. Obviously, the movement is the dial in this case, and you can see the early time dial down here at 6 o'clock. Now,
can you get more light on that a little bit? Yeah, no.
Not really, unfortunately, because it's getting very dark in Scotland now, but there we go. Maybe that helps.
Yeah.
What you can see here is
a little bit down.
Don't think that the numbers are going to be like this. They are drawn on by hand merely as a guide for them when they're working with it. But you can also see here on the case back, you have the case back with the running seconds, the minutes, and the hours. And everything about this is very early. It's very much prototypes. Please, as I would say, don't take this as being anywhere near the finished product, but it gives you a feel for the case, a feel for the look, the style, and everything else about it. There we go. We catch the green there.
Yeah,
and
super
it's
nice.
up and running.
It's good.
This product does not feature the MicroReg inside the movement yet. We have that still being engineered and packaged into the movement, but hopefully this also lets anyone who's been maybe hanging off to see, I wonder if that will ever be a real product. Yes, it is a real product, and we are working fast and furiously on this. Still many months of work to go. Marcus and the guys in the engineering team are working hard to fully build that technology, that micro regulator, into the movement. And we've started the conversations with regards to the software stack, not for the watch, but for the tools and for the infrastructure to allow it to work as well. So the software guys have got their thinking caps on and about how to structure and build that. So hopefully this gives all of you a little bit of an update. Maybe, Andy, you could make me small again and flip to the next slide.
Yeah. I had a trick
and
this
then
time.
We can the trick. We can flip over to that. We can flip over to the next slide. Here's a couple of photographs we've taken as well, so you can see the concept there. That's on the left-hand side of the screen with a photograph of the watch that you've just seen. And we have it out and about. We're so proud of it, in fact, that at a recent event, they had a scary box which magnified the watch up to the size of a large piece of art you would put in the wall. And Andy can maybe slide to the next slide, and that will show it in the box. I was a little bit scared at first of putting a very early engineering sample into it, but this was in a huge magnification box, and I think it looks absolutely amazing in there. So if any of you are still maybe considering this, we're not at the very, very early door prices of 3,900 Swiss francs, but we are still at an extremely attractive price of 4,490 Swiss francs. The final price is going to be 6,900. So you are still able to get in at a very, very competitive early price. That price is going to be held until early January. So if any of you are still pondering or considering, maybe you've now seen something that actually exists, and if you wish to, you can of course jump onto that as well. So please do have a look and see what you think. Any questions, you can put them in the comments, or of course you can drop us an email, either a direct message or a comment on Instagram, or of course you can email us at lostintime@horage.com, and it will probably be myself, but it could be Sue or one of the others that get back to you on that platform. So
I think we need to say also that, first of all, thanks to everybody who supported that whole thing, because it was an unknown. Yeah, at the end of the day, we didn't know what happened when we launched it, and then we ended up in Swiss TV, and out of a sudden, media supported us. Even the most critical people, I thought, which probably would take us apart for touching traditional movements. But I think we did a lot of right things, and it seems to me that the industry and the consumer has been waiting for something like this, because we really have a lot of supporters now. And that was the big unknown, I mean, we have to be clear, when we go further, industrialize that whole thing, that's going to cost a couple of million doing that, bringing that at scale to the market. HORAGE, we are the show window. At the end of the day, we need to be able to produce it at scale if we want to make that kind of a standard, and that's the target. But no investor and nobody is opening the purse for investing when there is no market. And luckily we found that market, because people have supported it, and enough people to say, yeah, that is going to be a success. And I do not worry a lot about technical things. I mean, currently, Marcus, who had me off before with my computer problem, he is on it, and there are some things which we need to do at the moment, which means assembly, design to assembly. Everything is easy on a computer, CGI, whatever, but putting it together and assuring that 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, and 50 years from now, a watchmaker can take it apart, wash the movement parts, and put it back together, and it's still everything works fine. That is the thing which we are taking care of now. All solvable problems, but you need to spend a certain brain power doing it in the right way. That's also very interesting, in the electronics industry, people are just soldering stuff together and gluing stuff together. In our world, you can't do that. You need to be able to disassemble things. Even if it's just a little plate to make sure that the 3 volts, 500 kilohertz shock is going where it should go. And doing that's a big challenge, and it's fun to look at it.
Absolutely. And as you say, Andy, I think that's something that, a lot of people maybe don't always fully compute. Lots of things they buy, whether it's your cell phone or a digital camera or any of the things we all buy from day to day in the world, they're designed to last a certain amount of time. There's a degree of fixability, but usually it's a whole component. And then after a certain period, well, it goes into the recycling or the refuse tip. Whereas a mechanical watch is designed to be taken apart, cleaned, serviced, and rebuilt many times over its potentially 100-year life, or indeed longer. So we have to make sure that this is a true mechanical watch. This is not a hybrid. This is not an electronic watch. This is a genuinely true mechanical watch. So it has to make and has to be able to do everything that a true mechanical watch is expected to do. So that is a big part of where the time goes. Certain things will be quick, certain things will take time, but we are definitely working hard there. So before we kind of round this one out, because we're pushing on towards an hour, we've got around 10 minutes left. Let's just have a little recap as well about a few other models that have been on the market. And this is the update on pre-orders and delivery. So our Autark small seconds model, there were 3 variants, the salmon dial and the grey dial, which are the core models. And of course, that special edition for the Chinese New Year, the Year of the Wood Dragon, that all of those models have now been delivered. All pre-orders have been fulfilled and delivered. We now have stock inventory of both the grey dial and the salmon dial available. If anyone is looking or considering one, they can be fulfilled very quickly. In fact, within days of your order being placed. It'll get some quick QC and quality assurance checks. It'll be securely packaged and it will be winging its way to you via the couriers, that being FedEx. Also, a few of our concierge around the world now have pieces of that in stock. In the US, I know that the guys at Collective Horology, they have some pieces available in the US. We have porters in Glasgow in the UK also have some inventory, and there's inventory also winging its way over to our concierge in Taiwan as well. So these are available around the world now if you are thinking about one of these. Then on to the others, Autark Tourbillon, Tourbillon 2 Meteorite, and the Superseed Dual Time. These
I have
are
one here.
launches.
Do I need to show something?
You have indeed. So, well, let's show that in a wee second. But Autark Tourbillon pre-orders are going to be, we can clap, early. We said these were going to be delivered in early 2025, around Q1, which would allow us up to around March next year. But we've already been having the discussions. In fact, I know that Celine and Helen in logistics are going to be working at least one of the weekends in December, making sure that they are packaged up and they are handed over to the courier so that hopefully they can be on the wrists of those lucky customers for Christmas Day. We are going to deliver, I think,
who trusted in our team? Yeah, who trusted in our team?
A lot of people, in fact, I think.
Yeah, and I said we are going to ship before the end of the year. You did, yep. And I think we can dig out. We got there. It's great respect, but you know, I know tight timelines are a pain in the ass, but they also have to make things faster. It is like it is. It's getting slow by itself. Absolutely. And we got there, and we very much like to, you know, under promise and over deliver. So it would have been remiss of us not to allow ourselves a little bit of time so that when people who were placing their deposits and their orders down almost a year, if not longer than a year ago now, actually got to believe that the timeline was realistic. The fact we can order more quickly is just a big positive bonus. So yes, hopefully the vast majority of the people who are waiting on it will have their watch hopefully on their wrist for Christmas. A few people have asked us to hold their shipping back until January because they're off on vacation for Christmas, which sounds like a lovely thing to do. Run away and escape Christmas trees. That sounds like me. I'm going to be dressing up as the Grinch for Christmas. No Christmas dinner for David. But yes, so they will be on the way to everybody. Tourbillon 2 Meteorites, again, that special edition, only 25 pieces of that available. Nearly all of them are now sold, but they will be winging their way again to their lucky owners over the coming couple of weeks. They, I think, are due to ship in and around a week commencing the 9th of December. There is still, I think, 3 or 4 of those left available. So if anyone still might like a little bit of meteorite in their life, then do reach out to us because we have a couple still available. But once they are gone, they are gone. And of course, there is the Superseed Dual Time, the third and latest addition to the range of Superseeds. You had the GMT back in the day, which of course is now available in all colours in stock. The Superseed Date, the cleanest, simplest variant of it in both the blue and the black dial, which again, I believe the blue is in stock and the black will be in stock very shortly. And we will also now have, joining that, the ranks with the Dual Time. Pre-order customers, again, week commencing 9th of December, you will be getting your shipping notifications and the watch on the way, and we will have a small number of those available for stock for immediate delivery in that week as well. So that means that we're going to be rounding out the year of 2024 with nearly every project delivered on the wrists of the customers, and you all now have an update also on the project that is, of course, the micro-regulation project, to see that we are moving along, working hard in the background.
And we've got some exciting things coming for 2025. We've got something that most people, in fact, nobody is going to expect. A little bit like the Spanish Inquisition, to paraphrase a very famous British comedy. Nobody expects them when they come. And this watch that's going to be coming in around the February, March time, I don't think anyone's going to see this coming. But when they do see it, they're definitely not going to miss it. And there's something else coming. Not going to say too much other than
You're working
we did a
hard.
Tourbillon one. A Tourbillon one that everyone was very excited about back in the day. And that's something that people have always, who missed out, said, it would be nice if there was something like that in the future. Well, maybe in and around that March timeframe, your dreams might come true as well. That's all I'm going to say. I've probably already said too much, but keep an eye on, of course, social media channels. If you're not signed up for our newsletter, please do so. Go to the website. Once a day it annoys you and gives you a little pop-up and said, if you're not on our email, join us. We don't spam you. We maybe send an email every few weeks, but it will keep you up to date with any forthcoming launches or forum posts or news that's coming. So I think for me, I've talked enough. I'm going hoarse. I'm going to go and have my dinner soon. But Andy maybe can show a quick little sneaky peek on the camera of one of the Autark tourbillons. Thank you, Andy.
Because at the end of the day, we want to see watches, and the people who are watching, they want to see watches. I will also make myself a little bit smaller. Yeah, here they are. I cleaned them before, otherwise.
Well, otherwise you'll be chastised later.
These are actually the samples I have, because all the other watches you have.
I do. They're still on Carney. They're still enjoying their vacation after a round the world trip. So they're having a little layup in Scotland. They will be winging their way on the Carney back to Switzerland in the coming 10 days or so, and they'll get back to join their friends in the big safe. And Celine will be a happy lady because they're all back where they belong.
It's just an unbelievable, beautiful product. And it's just someone, a customer was here before and said that's his next watch. Need to save up some money. And everybody who has touched it, this kind of 9mm packed full of micromechanical precision parts is just amazing. Yeah? And if you think about it, just in that cage, we have 64 components moving around in there. So that's a lot of parts in a very small space. And I think it's the product. It is the thing.
I think if you really aspire to own a tourbillon, if you want the latest technology, if you want a lightweight, anti-hypoallergenic watch with titanium, all grade 5, super wearable in terms of size, thickness, micro adjustment clasp, this possibly is the dream watch for many, many people. If you're not able to afford that tourbillon price as well, but you'll love the aesthetic, of course, there is the small seconds variant featuring our K2 micro rotor movement coming in at around the 5,000 Swiss francs mark. So, there is definitely something for everybody. We always try and think about everyone. We know that it would be lovely if everyone could afford watches that were in the 5 figures, but most of us in the real world can't afford that. But we try to make there something being available for everyone that's super high value. So yes, there is the salmon dialed small seconds. It's also available in a grey dial as well. So you have the salmon with or without power reserve in the tourbillon. You have the sunray blue and sunray black without power reserve in the tourbillon, and you have the gradient grey with power reserve in the tourbillon. Then in the small seconds, you have salmon fume and grey fume dials. I think personally for me, the grey fume K2 small seconds is an absolutely amazing day-to-day watch that will put up with all the punishment you throw at it. And all I can say is these are grade 5 titanium. Many folks say, do they mark? Do they scratch? Of course, all watches scratch depending on what you do to them. But these watches have had a tough life. They've been in and out of bags, in and out of customs, in and out of shows. And I can say that the sample ones that have been around the world are absolutely immaculate, to the point where I'm even absolutely gobsmacked by how pristine they still are. So no fears there. Yes, if you do something very silly and you maybe hit it off something you shouldn't have, you may put a small mark in it, but that's the bit that we all do at some point in our life with watches. It's usually the bit that makes us cry, but then that makes it our own watch.
Okay.
So Andy,
I think
we have almost hit an hour to the second. We've got around 20 seconds to go. So we should say thank you everyone who has tuned in. If you didn't manage to tune in and you're watching this back later, welcome late. You can always reach out to us at the email address lostintime@horage.com if you have any questions about pre-orders, orders you have, or just general queries about what we're up to and why.
Just call us.
We will be back. We will be back with a live in December.
More live,
maybe
by the
even
way,
two.
because we are back at the desks and not traveling around the world, which is, if I get my computers back working, then that's not a problem.
Andy needs to ask Santa Claus for a nice computer. But yes, we will be back at least probably twice. And one of those will be that competition. So keep your eyes tuned. Remember, follow us on Instagram to get involved in that competition. And we will also have a bit of an end of the year roundup where we can talk and discuss about everything that's happened through 2024 and maybe give a few more sneak peeks about what might be happening in 2025. So thank you everyone for enjoying this. And well, I hope you enjoyed it. I say you're enjoying it. I hope you've enjoyed it. And thanks for joining us. So it's goodbye from me. And what about you, Andy?
Goodbye. That's the only thing I can say.
Cheers, everyone.
Bye-bye.